Lovers of travel everywhere, I present to you this video today, which is a summary of my trip and experience in Egypt, the mother of the world. Honestly, it truly is the mother of the world, because of the diversity you will see in Egypt and the places you will enjoy. I will talk about travel tips, where to stay, transportation, approximate prices, and where to go based on your preferences. Do you want something luxurious or adventurous and stylish? It's available. Do you want the charm of the old days in ancient Egypt? It's also available. Do you want the Nile? It's available. Do you want shopping? It's available. That's why we will talk about these matters in a simple way, and God willing, you will like it first. At the same time, anyone looking for tourist information about Egypt should watch this playlist, which contains all my videos about Egypt. Come on, where to? Egypt is the top of the world with the best people, and here we begin. This is something you should know first. I will talk about Cairo first because I made a special video for Alexandria, so people who want to go to Alexandria can watch that video for all the details. This is one thing. The second thing is that Cairo has two main airports. Cairo International Airport, which is very well known. Of course, this airport is nice because it has many flights, but its problem is that it is always crowded. Yes, there are more transportation options, including buses, but it is located in areas like Heliopolis and Old Cairo. Therefore, for people living in 6th of October City or Sheikh Zayed City, Sphinx Airport is better and cheaper, but the flights you will find there are only budget flights. Now, there are two airports, and based on my experience, Sphinx Airport was empty and never crowded, and the atmosphere was very pleasant. So, regarding the airports, you need to understand them and know where to go. The second thing you should think about is transportation in Egypt. Before I tell you about transportation in Egypt, you should know that Cairo is a very huge city. You are talking about two governorates within one city, and you have the Nile line. Cairo is on your right, and Giza Governorate is on your left, where you can find Mohandesin, Sheikh Zayed City, and 6th of October City. The pyramid is on the other side, along with Old Cairo, such as the description of the country, Al-Rahab, and Old Egypt. Each area has its own special atmosphere. Regarding transportation, if you know Egypt and have traveled there before, I recommend renting a car because it definitely offers more flexibility. However, you need to get used to driving in Egypt, as it is not very smooth or flexible, especially when it comes to parking. It's not easy to find parking everywhere. Therefore, if you don't like driving, I suggest using the well-known ride-hailing apps. First, there's Uber, which is known for being more expensive, but has better cars. Then you have InDrive and an app called Ginny. Their prices are cheaper. And at the same time, their cars are somewhat good but relatively older. So it all depends on what you want. Of course, the costs are not very high. We are talking about 100 to 300 or 400 Egyptian pounds. Why? Is 400 pounds a bit difficult to see? No, it's not that big of a deal. If you are trying to relax a bit and stay in 6th of October City and go to Al-Rihab, if you travel from the farthest point in Giza to Al-Rihab. In Cairo, it takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours in Egypt. You should plan where you want to stay in order to cover the places without getting stuck in traffic. Here we enter the third point, which is where to stay. For me, in Egypt, there are different atmospheres. If you like upscale places and want to experience something new, you should consider living. In Old Cairo, Al-Rihab, or the Fifth Settlement, these areas are part of New Cairo, featuring luxurious malls and various amenities. I will talk a bit about the available places, but if you want to truly experience it, I stayed in downtown, which is a very clean area, specifically Talat Harb Square. There are more hotel options, and I will list them below in the video description. Living by the Nile means, in short, experiencing the authentic atmosphere. My advice to you, when planning your trip, is to choose your accommodation wisely, Don't stay in just one place. For example, stay in downtown or Zamalek in the center, and then after finishing your time in downtown, head to the pyramids. You can then move on to Old Cairo, Tahrir Square, Nasser City, or even the Fifth Settlement if you want to enjoy the atmosphere of malls, new activities, and festivals. In the video description, I will list 4 or 5 hotels that would be suitable and at the same time. The locations will be divided between downtown, which I liked a lot, and the Nasser City area, or even the First Settlement or Fifth Settlement, which are part of Greater Cairo. This way, you can explore Cairo without it being too crowded, because during peak times, despite the many roads available, due to the large population of Cairo, around 20 million people during rush hour, you can't say there won't be congestion. Therefore, the choice of transportation is very sensitive. Of course, there is an important point. There is a metro, by the way, and the metro takes you to the main places, but so far it hasn't covered the new areas. You can go to Mahdi, or next to Zamalek, or to downtown, or to Tahrir Square. All these places are covered by the metro. While new and distant places like Sheikh Zayed and Al-Hussein require taxis and cars, I consider the most important aspect to be the people in Egypt. What makes Egypt special is perhaps the nature along the Nile, the spirit of the city, its history, the historical aroma, and the authenticity that dates back hundreds of years. This gives us the very distinctive spirit of Egypt. Moreover, Egypt is defined by its people. Egyptians are very easygoing, kind, and truly creative. Engaging in conversation with them is easy, and the sense of humor is always present. However, this reflects, as the Egyptians say, that their words are free. For example, when it comes to appointments, they might say, "I'll see you at 5, but you can go at 6 or 7. It's very natural. So, if you come as a tourist, you should keep this in mind. If you come to do business or buy something, you want to be sure about the things I mention. But in general, the Egyptian youth are among the most straightforward, kind, and beautiful people, and you can enjoy talking with them without any limits. Honestly, one of the tourist attractions of the country is the kind-hearted Egyptians. And by the way, these people are like those in big cities. Large cities like Cairo, Istanbul, New York, and Paris, as well as cities like Dubai, tend to have people who are more materially oriented due to the high costs of living and the financial commitments associated with them. The expenses in these cities are higher than in smaller towns. However, when you go to smaller cities, the nature of the people tends to be kinder and more genuine. This phenomenon exists at every level in cities around the world because large cities share a common nature that makes people more focused on their own interests. But honestly, I stayed in Egypt for a while, and thank God there was no fraud or deception. Even in the worst cases, if you wanted to give an extra 10 or 20 pounds, of course, you would do it from a kind heart because they speak to you smoothly and are very friendly. This is something that, frankly, when they invite you, they want you to honor them, and there is absolutely no problem with that. Of course, when it comes to food, there is a great diversity in Egypt. Now there are restaurants from Syria, Iraq, and Palestine, in addition to Egyptian cuisine. For those who want to see restaurants, I have tried them, and honestly, they are very impressive. This is a complete video about the available restaurants. We will enter the tourist program and visit places. I will provide you with videos so you can see these locations. Based on the report, it will be divided between downtown and heritage sites, while also including tourist attractions that are not heritage related. It also highlights new places, like the Fifth Settlement and the entire area, so you can base your plans on this, and also provides the name of each place so you can include them in your itinerary. Thank you.
Here, of course, is also a gathering of cafes, as you can see. How is the lighting?
Of course, here we also have a gathering of the cafes, as you can see from the lighting. It's really expensive here, but you can live life differently, honestly. All of this has become Al-Muizz Street. You have regular cafes here, and there are more ahead. Now we are entering Al-Hussein Mosque. We have just entered Al-Hussein Mosque. May God be pleased with him. Look how the mosque has been excellently renovated. You can also visit the shrine here. Just look at how the mosque is considered, honestly, clean, organized, and well maintained. The nice thing is to see how the edges of the university have all these chairs so older people come here and sit. Like this. Here it is. Yes. The shrine is literally inside. Here. The pulpit.
He gathers the text of the image on the fire. He text merges image. We arrived at the shrine of our master Al-Hussein. May God be pleased with him. And honestly, it is a beautiful place that is being taken care of in an amazing way. I honestly did not expect it. This is how all my expectations started. Really look at the ceiling. Honestly speaking,
the university is very comfortable, and when you visit the shrine, you feel at ease. It definitely deserves a visit with an amazing atmosphere, and in addition, it is already close to tourist spots like Khan El-Khalili. So, you should come here for the visit. The situation is really worth it. You exit from here, and this is the second gate. The mosque is right here now, in the Al-Hussein area. The mosque is also close to you here, exactly by this tree where Khan El-Khalili begins. It's an important point they told me about, the Khan El-Khalili area and Al-Muizz Street. And the beauty of these places is even more enchanting at night. So, I will show you what it looks like during the day and how it transforms at night. Now we have entered the area, and here we are in Khan El-Khalili. This is one of the famous cafes you can still find. Here indeed the people said yes, the Egyptian youth.
As you slowly and carefully enter inside, the best thing you can see here are the antique shops, which give you a very beautiful and unique atmosphere and charming. As you enter inside, on the left, you will find a cozy and inviting El Fishawi cafe. Look, El Giza City sends, El Giza City sends. Here is El Fishawi cafe. Naguib Mahfouz used to sit here, right? No, this is not El Fishawi cafe. This is El Fishawi cafe, excuse me. But it also has an old style. Do you see? This is El Fishawi cafe. This is one of the most famous cafes here in the area, where writers used to gather. One of the traditions, when you come to the Khan El-Khalili area, is that you actually visit El Fishawi cafe. I went inside to see if there was something special or not. This is what it's like inside. After El Fishawi cafe, there is a cafe called Kulthum, which is said to be very famous and has a nicer atmosphere. Honestly, we are going there and seeing the ambiance, which is truly beautiful. Of course, this is a tourist area, so you should take that into consideration. The seating here is nice. And this is the restaurant and cafe of Kulthum. Take a moment to look from the inside and see how it is. Even Hydarb Hala Oud, by God, is very beautiful. Notice the details and the way everything is crafted with care. The beauty is not just in the overall look, but also in the small elements that create a stunning visual experience. It's as if every part is designed to captivate anyone who sees it. The elegance and charm are undeniable, making it a sight to appreciate. Look closely, and you'll see the artistry and skill that make it so beautiful.
Music.
Here, of course. Mashallah. Yes. Wonderful nights. Thank you. Now it's time to take you to one of the most luxurious areas you'll see here in Cairo and in Egypt. You wouldn't expect to find something like this here in Egypt, but the surprise will be very strong. This is 5A, where the atmosphere of Egypt gives you a next level experience. Are you with us or with them? Here is Egypt. Here you truly live as if you are in a different world from Khan El-Khalili and the stories you see about the protected areas. Forget all that. Just set it aside. Look at the atmosphere here. See how breathtakingly beautiful it is. Look at this elegance. And check out this stunning design. It means the people who are indeed looking for something elegant, beautiful, and sophisticated. This place is new, and at the same time, do you see its vibe? And they are definitely dressed well, not just casually, but in a stylish way. So, this is also a bit of a trendy vibe. 5A is the place, my friends. And all these restaurants are at very high and sophisticated levels. This is for people who love the sophisticated atmosphere. I brought it here in Cairo. 5A is the place, guys. The nice thing is that once you finish this vibe, on the other side, there are cafes that are all drive-through. You can drive your car and pass by about 3, 4, or 5 cafes and restaurants, order everything from your car, and then either leave or take a walk. As you can see here, the area honestly has a completely different vibe.
I love Egypt. Just before 5 a.m., of course, there's this place called Drive-Through. As you can see, it's a cafe in a very innovative way, and at the same time, you have cars around, creating a more funky atmosphere. The vibes here are more youthful and relaxed. So you come here, and you notice how enjoyable it is. Just look at how the cars interact with people, the colors, and the style of the place. It's a beautiful style, and has a completely different vibe. It doesn't have that luxury feel, but it is contemporary, and at the same time gives you a vibe that is entirely different from other places that are very upscale. The whole area is filled with carts, restaurants, cafes, and life. Finally, it discusses the topic of travel costs to Egypt, noting that, like any other country, the expenses largely depend on your travel style. However, in general, costs in Egypt are not considered expensive. For meals, you might spend around $6 to $10, depending on the restaurant's cleanliness and reputation, but you can comfortably eat in Egypt for $7 to $8. This refers to a full meal. For example, a sandwich can cost around $1.50. If you opt for traditional Egyptian food from clean restaurants, you can find a falafel or fava bean sandwich for about 15 Egyptian pounds, which is roughly a third of $1, or about 1.5 Saudi riyals. This is still available, but generally, meals cost around $5 to $7. Transportation costs vary based on your location, but you can add about $3 to $5 if you want to use taxis. However, public transport is very cheap, costing around 10 Egyptian pounds for a one-way trip. As for hotels, there are many options available. Good options are typically priced between $70 to $100 to $150 per day. Of course, people who have residency or those who hold Egyptian nationality usually have different preferential prices compared to tourists from abroad. And this is something that is common in most tourist countries. For example, the same applies in Turkey, the same in Thailand, and the same in Tanzania. So, this is something you might want to take into consideration. But in the end, Egypt remains the nation of the world. It is a beautiful country that deserves a visit, especially because of its history and the pyramids. The last thing you want is to go to the pyramids and enjoy the historical significance there. Of course, you should dedicate a whole day for this. I didn't mention it in the video because I thought it deserved a separate video about the pyramids. People can go to the pyramids in the morning and return at night. But there are ways that experts have advised me about, and I plan to try them, God willing, and I will share them with you in the video. You can go early in the morning, around dawn, to Nazlet El Seman, take a horse, and ride up to see the pyramids from above at sunrise. After that, you can descend and visit the pyramids around 8 a.m. before it gets crowded. You can finish at the pyramids by 3 p.m. and then continue your day at other places. I hope you are all well, everyone. Give me your opinions on this video, and if you need any more information, share it with me in the comments below the video. Thank you, dear travel lovers, for a new video with new places and the best experiences.